If I had to choose one word to describe the lives of most modern people, it would be chaos. You are a man. At least that's my assumption if you're here, because this channel is mainly for men. One day, you woke up, looked in the mirror, and realized you were tired of living like this. A boring job, no energy, overweight, constant exhaustion. When you were younger, you dreamed about becoming an athlete or the CEO of a massive company making millions. You imagined a life full of possibilities, strength, and freedom. And then adulthood arrived. Now you stand there staring at the reflection of a man you were never supposed to become. So you decide to change. You announce to the world that starting tomorrow you'll become a new man. Or maybe you tell nobody. It doesn't matter. You start looking for advice and information. At night, you watch motivational gurus online. Most of them are the same collection of interviews and seminars. Movie clips designed to push you into action. Hero monologues meant to make you think and change your life. And yes, they work. You feel motivated. You truly believe that this time will be different. You start planning and writing down your goals. You create a vision of where you'll travel next summer. Of course, you'll be able to afford it. In your head, everything is finally organized. You're ambitious, so you try to do a lot. Too much. You start learning a new language. You start working out, eating healthy, reading books, meditating, searching for new skills that could accelerate your career. You begin waking up an hour earlier. You buy a notebook, install productivity apps, watch morning routines of successful people, and try to copy their lives minute by minute. You start believing that if you organize your day perfectly enough, you'll finally become someone better. But day after day, fewer tasks in your calendar get marked as completed. Eventually, you stop writing them down completely. And once again, failure. Once again, you return to the starting point for a few months, only to try again in exactly the same way. Guess what happens next? You make the same mistake. You throw yourself into the same routines until sooner or later you collapse from exhaustion. That is chaos. People overestimate what they can accomplish in 1 year, but underestimate what they can achieve in 10. You try to make up for lost time, and in the end you lose even more of it. More frustrated, more convinced that it's impossible. That is chaos. Following productivity trends. You're supposed to multitask. You're supposed to become a machine. Blindly enter monk mode. You start treating rest as weakness. Every moment without work feels like wasted time. Even when you watch a movie or spend time with family, there's a voice in the back of your mind telling you that you should be doing something productive. And all of this begins with one serious mistake. You ask yourself, what do I want to do? But you never ask the more important questions. Why? What will I do when I fail? What will I do when obstacles appear? How will I prepare for temptation? How will I react when something more urgent suddenly appears? Without answers to these questions, you are unprepared for change. Without them, you exist for your goals instead of your goals existing for you. Modern society wants fast results, spectacular careers, stories impressive enough to post on social media so the classmates you once hated can envy your life. A man who values attention more than building the foundations of his own character can never become the foundation of society. You need to understand that this approach does not work. What's interesting is that most people don't even realize they live in chaos. They believe the problem is lack of motivation, lack of time, or bad luck. But very often, the real problem is lack of structure, a lack of a system for responding to life. So what should you do instead? Turn chaos into an algorithm. Make your life an algorithm. As men, we are naturally task-oriented. We like competition. We like moving toward a clear direction, following a plan, and winning, constantly improving. Civilizations were built on these traits for centuries. The most effective individuals became admired and shaped the world according to their vision. Every great ruler throughout history understood planning. He knew exactly which steps needed to be taken to build the work of his life. But no matter how brilliant he was, he still needed advisors beneath him, people responsible for the details. They knew when and how to strike, how to prepare for failure. Going even lower in the hierarchy, they understood how to motivate individual soldiers on the battlefield or workers building great monuments. You can predict what will happen and respond according to a pre-planned system. That is the algorithm. You feel exhausted after work? Your algorithm tells you exactly what to do. You feel tempted to order junk food? Your algorithm reminds you why that's a bad idea. You have no motivation to work? Your algorithm tells you to remember your why. For some time now, I've been following this philosophy in my own life. I know what can distract me from work. I know what excuses I'm likely to make. Understanding this changed everything. It was the turning point that transformed chaotic attempts at self-improvement into a system that actually works. Real growth rarely looks spectacular. Most of the time, it looks boring. It means repeating the same fundamentals when you don't feel like doing them. It means consistency built in silence, without applause, and without instant results. The foundations of this philosophy are universal enough to apply to almost every area of life. You can use it to build your physique, learn a language, build a business, improve relationships, escape toxic behaviors, regain control over your own mind. That's why so many people remain stuck for years despite having huge ambitions. They have goals, but no procedures. They have dreams, but no system for responding to crises. And life will always test you sooner or later. That is the main idea behind this channel. Self-improvement through a system you create for yourself. Turning your life into something uniquely meaningful. I want to present my vision of growth. A vision of building the character of a strong man who becomes the foundation of a healthy and developed society. A man who doesn't mentally collapse after his first failure. A man who can control his emotions. A man who takes responsibility for his decisions. A man who doesn't constantly search for excuses and doesn't need the approval of the entire world in order to act. And as this channel grows, I will grow with it. I'll create videos showing exactly how to build your own algorithm for action. I'll also share my perspective on a world that is becoming increasingly unhealthy and speak about the things that I believe truly matter. We'll talk about discipline, responsibility, mental strength, social media manipulation, dopamine addiction, the loneliness of modern men, why so many people live without purpose, and why it's becoming harder and harder to find people who genuinely expect something from themselves. We'll also talk about winning, but not the Instagram version, not rented cars and pictures from Dubai. Real winning, the moment when you look in the mirror and, for the first time in years, feel respect for yourself. Because that's what all of this is really about. Not a perfect life, not perfection, not becoming a machine, but slowly regaining control over yourself, turning chaos into direction, creating your own algorithm for life. And maybe that's exactly where you should begin.